So here's a question for all you sales leaders out there. Are conflicting demands from your hiring managers maybe slowing you down, costing you top talent?
It's a huge issue. Inefficiencies there can really hit your team's ability to achieve, well, real sales success.
Exactly. Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to pull out those crucial insights you need. Today we're tackling exactly that, navigating multiple hiring managers, different opinions, all to land the best people.
Right. And boost that sales success. We're drawing heavily today from a great piece by the sales experts.
Yeah, it's called How to Balance Conflicting Demands of Multiple Hiring Managers for the Same Role. And they also touch on dealing with clients or internal stakeholders who keep changing the specs.
Two sides of a tricky coin, really.
Definitely. So our mission for this deep dive, give you some solid, actionable strategies to streamline things when you've got lots of cooks in the hiring kitchen.
Ultimately aiming for stronger, more effective sales teams. That's the bottom line.
So, the sales experts, they really dive into how these conflicts can subtly mess things up, even when everyone means well.
That's right. You think you're moving fast, but those, mixed signals and shifting requirements, they create real drag. So let's start with that first big hurdle, balancing those different inputs.
Okay. The article starts with clarifying job requirements. Seems basic, maybe?
Well, yes and no. It sounds like common sense, but they emphasize getting a shared understanding. Everyone involved needs to agree on the absolute must-have skills, the experience, the core job.
For that specific sales role, yeah. Total alignment from the start. Why is that so critical, do you think?
Well, think about the opposite. If one manager wants, say, deep industry knowledge, and another only cares about hitting quota fast, you could easily pass on a fantastic candidate who doesn't tick both those specific, maybe conflicting boxes. Clarity ensures everyone's judging against the same standard. It's about consistency.
Right, setting that benchmark so you don't end up evaluating apples and oranges, basically.
Exactly, which leads nicely into the second strategy from the sales experts,
Right.
prioritizing those requirements.
Okay, so once you've listed everything out,
hmm
you then need to decide what's like non-negotiable versus nice extras.
Precisely. Differentiating the must-haves from the nice-to-haves. For a sales role, maybe proven experience exceeding targets is a must-have,
Right.
but maybe familiarity with one specific obscure CRM is just nice to have.
So it's about focusing scarce resources, yeah. How does that help a busy hiring manager day to day?
It just makes everything more efficient. You filter resumes faster, you structure interviews better, you focus on candidates who actually meet the critical needs for driving sales success.
Instead of getting bogged down interviewing people who look good but lack the core stuff. Makes sense. Okay, strategy 3 is about setting expectations.
Yeah, and this isn't just candidate expectations. It's crucial for the hiring managers themselves.
Internally.
Exactly. Clear communication about the whole process, the timeline, who makes the final call, what's each person's role.
Getting that defined upfront prevents frustration later.
Absolutely. Ambiguity breeds conflict, especially when things are moving fast. Keeps everyone invested and on the same page.
Okay, good point. What's the fourth strategy they highlight?
Encouraging a collaborative approach,
Yeah.
getting the managers to actually work together on evaluating candidates.
Jointly evaluating, sharing feedback. That sounds like it could also just add more opinions. How do you make that work?
A good question. It needs structure. It's not just a free-for-all, maybe shared interview panels or structured feedback forms tied to those core requirements we talked about,
Okay.
or facilitated debrief sessions. The sales experts say this ensures diverse perspectives are considered, leading to more rounded, informed decisions. Better for sales success overall.
Right, harnessing the collective brain power while managing the potential for, well, chaos. And the fifth strategy for dealing with conflicting demands.
Transparency. Just being open about challenges or disagreements as they come up.
So, no sweeping issues under the rug.
Exactly. The sales experts stress this builds trust. If everyone knows the hurdles, you can tackle them together. It keeps the focus on the main goal, building that great sales team.
Yeah, tackling things head on is usually better. Okay, so that covers balancing the managers. But then the sales experts also talk about when the job itself keeps changing, shifting goalposts.
Right. This is that second piece. How to deal with a recruitment client that keeps changing job specifications.
Yeah.
Because, let's face it, business needs do change sometimes.
Even with the best planning. So what's the first step when the specs suddenly shift?
Back to basics again, really. Clarify the new requirements. Dig into the why behind the change. Understand the specifics.
Don't just take the updated description, but understand the driver. Why now? What's the new priority?
Exactly. Because understanding that why helps you grasp the new target and, crucially, helps you explain it effectively to candidates without sounding, well, disorganized.
Okay. And the second strategy for handling these changes, providing feedback. This sounds potentially awkward.
It requires some tact, for sure. It's about explaining the impact of constant changes.
How it affects the search.
Yeah, pointing out maybe how it's confusing candidates or dragging out the time to hire, negatively impacting your ability to attract that top sales talent. You can also offer alternatives.
So, positioning it as partnership. Here's how we can still hit the goal, but maybe this constant shifting isn't the way.
Precisely. Being a strategic advisor, which ties into the third point, setting expectations again.
Seems like a recurring theme, this expectation setting.
It's fundamental. When specs change, the timeline almost certainly changes too. You have to communicate that clearly. Reset expectations about how long it will now take to find people matching the new criteria.
Right. Avoid that pressure to deliver yesterday on a spec that just landed today. And the fourth point here is thinking about the candidates.
Yes. The sales experts really emphasize this. Think about their experience. Constant changes are confusing and frustrating for them.
You risk losing good people just because the process feels chaotic.
Totally. You need clear, transparent communication with them about any significant changes. It protects their engagement and, frankly, your company's reputation.
Oh, employer brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely vital. And the final strategy for dealing with changing specs.
Be flexible. Acknowledge that things evolve. Sometimes you do need to adapt your search, your assessment, your whole approach to meet those shifting needs and ensure sales success down the line.
Okay, makes sense. So let's try and boil this down. Key takeaway number one for balancing those multiple managers.
It's really about that upfront clarity, rigorous prioritization, and then fostering genuine collaboration and transparency. That's the bedrock for efficient hiring and ultimately sales success.
Got it. And for handling those shifting job specs.
There, the key is proactive communication, understanding the why, giving feedback on the impact, managing expectations, always considering the candidate, and yeah, maintaining that flexibility to adapt.
Okay, so for everyone listening, sales leaders, hiring managers, execs, let's give them two concrete things they can do, like tomorrow. Actionable insights.
All right, first, mandate a structured kickoff meeting for every new sales role. Get all the hiring managers in a room, virtual or real, to agree on and actually document the must-haves before you even start looking.
Lock it down up front. Love it. What's number two?
Second, establish a clear, documented process for handling any changes to job specs. How are changes requested? Who approves them? How are they communicated internally and externally? Having a process minimizes the chaos.
Process is power.
Excellent.
So really, by applying these ideas from the sales experts, clarity, priority, collaboration, transparency, flexibility, our listeners can seriously improve their hiring.
Definitely. Less conflict, smoother processes, and ultimately building those stronger, high-performing sales teams that really drive revenue. That's the goal.
And if people want to dig deeper.
Yeah, definitely check out the sales experts. You can reach them at connect@thesalesexperts.com. They have tons of resources on recruitment, selling skills, all that good stuff.
Fantastic. Okay, final thought to leave everyone with today. In this constantly changing sales world, how are you going to build agility into your talent strategy? How do you stay nimble enough to grab the best people without getting tangled in conflicting views or shifting needs?
Something to chew on.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.